Well, it's Friday. Well, as the old saying goes from the movie Friday, you ain't got no job, you ain't got no shit to do. Well, I do got something to do, and of course, is give you guys some awesome reviews. Now, today is going to be a very interesting one. As I said last time, this past Monday, if you guys are fans of the Yoshi wrestling scene, you're just in luck because we are going to focus on that. But more specifically, with one promotion only. And this one is, of course, with Marigold, with their much recent events, New Year's Golden Garden. We have 3 days of that back to back. It started from the 11th of January all the way to the 13th. So a lot of things would happen, but however, day three features the world title defendant. As you know, Utami Ayashida defends her title for the first time, and this time against Tank. So we'll talk a little bit about that as soon as possible. Now, as for our news updates, normally we have, of course, when it comes to our news updates, any events are upcoming from the promotions. Well, we're not going to have that for today, but we do have two developments. One involving a Yoshi wrestler who is now volunteering to become the lead in the women's division in a Japanese males promotion, which is interesting. And of course, Konnan giving his perspective about Kenny Omega's status, what he should do now since his return. Well, we're going to talk about a little bit about that as well. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, anything we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been need to say, so I believe it's time to get a move on, boy. So let's start with our very first review. And of course, as I said before, this is all about Marigold. So let's start with day one in the New Year's Golden Garden. Okay, as you probably know, Marigold has started their latest tour, the New Year's Golden Garden. This is coming up after their big event that took place recently on January 3rd, which was amazing. We have three brand new champions, the Twin Star, Superfly, National, and the World. So we'll see how things will progress going forward. But however, let's begin with this tour. Now, keep in mind, some of these matches are in fact preliminaries before certain matches that will take place down the road. Now, the first one we're going to be focusing on is going to be on January 11th in Osaka. So, our first match we have Ryoku Sakimura versus Hummingbird. Now, nothing too special about this, but for those who already know, Sakimura is a rookie with less experience. But however, with Hummingbird, well, you probably can guess with her, she picks up the win with applying a very unique submission in that very was very effective, picking up her win. Our next match, we have Flying Penguin facing off against Yuki Minami. Nothing too special, but of course, Flying Penguin is a very unique wrestler. She's the second masked wrestler to make appearances in MARIGOLD, but she picked up the win when she applied a diving body press, and just like that, it was over. Our next up, we have our former tag champions, Chiaki, and of course, our number one contender for the United National title, Nagisa Nozaki, taking on Rhea Seto and now Ishikawa. Now, however, many of you would say that this could be a nice build-up for Nagisa Nozaki to, of course, pick up momentum for her upcoming title match against Mai Sakurai. However, that wasn't the case for this one because it was Chiaki who picked up the win when she applied a somewhat of a suplex onto Rhea Seto, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she was done. Next up, we have Naoya Wada teaming up with the former Superfly champion Natsumi Shozuki, taking on former tag champions Mirai and, of course, the current United National Champion Mai Sakurai. Now, of course, many of you would think in some capacity that Sakurai will try to build up momentum for her upcoming title match against Nozaki, and that pretty much basically was it, because she applied a somewhat version of evil. You know, that move he calls it, everything is evil. It seems that kind of was the move. I was surprised because normally she applies like the STF or something, but she didn't do that. But it was surprising she did that. But we'll see what happens in her upcoming title match. But of course, she will have preliminary matches with Nozaki real soon. Our next match, this is somewhat of a preliminary match coming up. We have Megaton and our current tag champions, Tank and Bozilla, taking on Mitsa Matsui, our current Superfly champion, Vittorio Yuzuki, and our current world champion, Utami Ayashida. Now, some of you may guess this is another type of preliminary where will Utami build up the momentum to defeat Tank? I mean, they have two opponents who are, in fact, are bigger and stronger. Utami has dealt with stronger wrestlers like that before, but this is a whole different level for her. But unfortunately, it was Misa Matsui who ended up on the wrong side of the spear by Tank, and just like that, it was over. So Tank delivered a message to Utami Ayashida, and we'll see how that grows. Now, our next match, we have Chika Goto teaming up with the former United National Champion Miku Ano, taking on the rookie Seri Yamaoka, and of course, Passion! Nanane Takahashi. So, nothing too special about this, but I do ask myself when it comes to Miku Anu, where does she go from here now that she's no longer the United National Champion? She was a force to be reckoned with. But however, I think you have to understand that Nan Takahashi, who is a well versed and well respected in the Yoshi world, that she throws in everything and doesn't hold back on her opponents. And she picked up a fantastic win when she applied a somewhat of a sliding, I think she calls it the sliding D, and just onto Chika Goto, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, we did see a promo between, of course, Yamaoka and Nanane, and I don't know what they said, but I'm sure they're trying to get the fans all riled up and pumped for what's next to them. So we'll see where that rolls. But right now, we are done with day one of the New Year's Golden Garden with Marigold. Let's move on with day two. I believe this one is going to be a very interesting one for all of you. Okay, day two of MARIGOLD's New Year's Golden Garden, and this took place recently on January 12th in Kyoto at the Kyoto K something Hall, which is very familiarized. Opening up our match, we have, of course, the rookie Ryoko Sakimura taking on the former Superfly champion Natsumi Shozuki. Now, nothing too special about this, but I did fail to mention what this Shozuki does now since she is no longer the Superfly champion. Well, I'm sure she'll try to build up the next momentum to fulfill her next goal in life. I mean, remember there are other titles she can challenge. I mean, the United titles, the Twins, possibly the World, and maybe hopefully the GHC Women's World Title. I mean, Women's Championship. So we'll see where that goes. But to me, this match, I didn't find it too special. But Shozuki applied a very high elevated Boston Crab on Sakimura, and just like that, she tapped out. It was over. Next up, we have Rhea Seto versus Nao Ishikawa. Nothing too special either. I mean, we haven't seen the best of both these ladies just yet. But it was a pretty good match. We have seen some good moments from both these ladies. But however, it was now Ishikawa who picked up a very impressive win when she lifted up, of course, Rhea Seto in a position. I don't know what she was trying to do, but she applied a very high elevated German suplex hold. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the win. Our next match is also part of the preliminary match for the Mighty Gold World Title. We have Megaton, Tank, and Bozilla. Bozilla and Tank, as you know, are the current, um, you know, Twin Star Tag Champions. They take on Yuki Minami, Mitsa Matsui, and Utami Ayashida. Now, of course, last time we saw Mitsa and Utami teamed up with another person, but however, that ended in a disaster thanks to Tank when she speared Mitsa. But this time, a little so different. But we have seen Yuki Minami, who has been showing a lot of resilience, no matter if the opponent is bigger and stronger. But unfortunately, that did not do any good for her because she ended up, just like what happened with Mitsa the day before, she got speared by Tank. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But however, we did see, of course, a promo coming from uh, Megaton, giving a direct message to Utami Ayashida. I'm pretty sure, since I don't know what they were talking about, I'm sure that she's trying to tell her that she will not beat Tank, that she's stronger and better. But of course, Utami Ayashida responded. I'm thinking she tells her she can say all she wants, but we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, as I mentioned before, we have preliminary matches. We have Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki taking on Chika Goto and Mai Sakurai. Now, don't forget, Mai Sakurai will put the United National Championship, aka the white belt, against Nagisa Nozaki. So you probably can guess that this is going to build that momentum. Who will have that momentum until the day of the title match? That's something we will pay attention very, very carefully. But however, I'm sure that Mai Sakurai is determined to prove her worth. Now, the last time these two faced each other, of course, Nagisa Nozaki wanted to get her hands on Julia, but she had to go through her former protege, which is Mai Sakurai, and Mai Sakurai lost to her. However, Sakurai felt that she cannot let that loss slide one way or the other. But unfortunately, she had to see Nagisa, of course, with her brain onto Chikagoto when she applied the Lance Nor, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But we did see a promo, a post-match promo by Nozaki to Masakurai, and I'm sure she is trying to remind her the last time she did not walk out with the victory when it was 1-on-1. But I'm sure Masakurai knows it too well, but she's not going to let this, how do I say, intimidate her one way or the other. Now, our main event, we have, of course, Naoya Wada, Miku Anu, and of course, Mirai taking on Seri Yamaoka, Victoria Yuzuki, and Nana Takahashi. So yeah, we saw once again Nana Takahashi and Seri Yamaoka team up, but this time they have Yuzuki on their side. Nothing too special about this match whatsoever that we probably wouldn't understand. But It was a pretty good match. Not to mention, we have seen Mirai and um, Seri faced off. Yamaki faced up before. I think this was back in January 3rd, which of course Mirai won. And I'm sure Nana Takahashi, you can see a lot of spirit coming from Mirai, was going to be in it. But however, it was, of course, once again, Nana Takahashi with the sliding D onto a Yamada, and just like that, one, two, three, it was over. And of course, there was another promo coming up. I don't know what they said, but I did later learn that Nana Takahashi did issue a challenge for the Twin Star tag team belts, and she teams up with Seri Yomoaka. So it's very interesting. I feel like it's now interesting to see Seri Yomoaka teaming up with Nanane, learning from a veteran who's been there and done that. So we'll see what happens down the line. But for now, we'll end things with day 2 and move on with our last and final review, day 3. Okay, day 3 of Marigold's New Year's Golden Garden. This took place on January 13th in Nagoya. Now, it opened up with Victoria Izuki making a promo, but I later learned that, of course, this is Nagoya is Yuzuki's hometown, so it would make sense, her saying hi to the fans, coming out to see her. And of course, I'm pretty sure her family are there watching, which is no surprise. But let's see how this will roll up. Now, our first match, we have a three-way match. We have Kyoko Sakimura versus Mitsa Matsui versus Natsumi Shozuki. Now, of course, it's no secret for anybody that Mitsa Matsui and Shozuki have faced off before in one-on-one, either in championship matches or just non-title matches. So that also plays out. But when it comes to three ways, it's impossible to determine who is going to walk out. But what the factor is, we have Sakimura, who is the least experienced out of the three. So which one was going to walk out? Many of you may think Shozuki, who of course is the former Superfly champion, but it was Mitsa Matsui who picked up the win when she applied a Magistral onto Sakimura, and just like that, one, two, three, picked up a win. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have Megaton and Bozilla taking on Yuki Minami and Nao Ishikawa. Now, of course, it's no secret that Tank will be now in the main event. They will be watching that closely. But I wasn't too sure where this is going to go. But I have seen Minami very resilient on what she does. But unfortunately, now Ishikawa suffered a fate by Bozilla with the pile driver. One, two, three. It was over, just like that. Now, our next match, we have Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki taking on Rhea Seto and our current United National Champion, Mai Sakurai. So you can guess that this is another preliminary match between Nozaki and Sakurai for the United National Championship that will be coming up soon. So also is another time where who's going to have the momentum in this match. And I think that's important. Who will build up momentum until their title match? Last time we did see Nozaki pick up a win, but that's when when Sakurai had a different partner. But when it comes to another wrestler, that's a different story too. Rhea Seto, as you know, ended up twice already in its sleeper hold by Nozaki, and Nozaki with the second attempt put her on a victory's pedestal, and just like that, it was over. But however, another post-match promo, this time with Nozaki and Sakurai, and of course, I'm sure Nozaki is giving her Sakurai a lecture that she will walk out as the champion, as the next United National Champion. But however, I know my Sakurai is trying to prove her worth. Of course, she's trying to step up and get out of the shadow of her former mentor and the current NXT Women's Champion, Julia. And I have to say, she pulled it off great. But this will put her through the test. So what will happen then, we don't know. So we will stay close to that. Now, our next match, we have Naoya Wada, Chika Goto, and Miku Anu teaming up once again. Well, Chika Goto and Anu have teamed up recently in day one, but now they face against Siri Yamaoka, Victoria Yuzuki, and Mirai. So, however, this is one of those matches where, of course, Victoria Yuzuki has to shine to show what in her in hometown in Nagoya how she has progressed. I mean, don't forget she is the youngest rookie ever. I mean, her first few months were amazing. We cannot deny that. But of course, you probably would say, would Victoria Yuzuki pick up the win on this one? Well, she eventually did. Um, she applied a tiger suplex on Yawata, and just like that, it was over. But of course, she put out a post-match promo to, thank the fans for supporting her. Thank you for being there for her and all this and that. So we can't wait to see what else we're gonna do. And we haven't had anybody who stepped up to challenge her for the Superfly Championship, but we'll see what happens down the road. Now, our main event is the MARIGOLD World Championship match. Tank versus our current champion Utami Ayashida. However, I want to say this: I wasn't too keen on this one after I watched it because I felt like they made it way too short. I mean, when it comes to title matches, they extend it up to maybe somewhere about almost close to 30 minutes or so, or maybe 20. But it did not have the long staggered. It was like maybe over 10 minutes or so. I wasn't too keen on it. But of course, Utami Hashida had to deal with a much stronger individual. Um, but luckily, Utami Ishida used whatever she can to apply the hijack bomb on her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. She made her first title defense. But however, during the post-match promo, she was trying to say something. Then Megaton showed up. I did not learn until later that Megaton decided to step up, the challenger for the red belt. I'm like, oh brother, this is going to be interesting. And I'm sure next is going to be Bozilla. So we'll see what happens until then. But for now, we are done with all our reviews. So let's focus right now on our last and final thing, and that is, of course, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Now, we're going to focus on developments only. Now, this one's a very interesting one that came on my lap, and I felt like I want to share this with all of you. Now, as you all know, in the Japanese wrestling scene, we have that whole division when it comes to the men's have their own promotion and the women's have that. But recently, we've been seeing, of course, Stardom wrestlers appearing um, in No Japan, and then later freelancers making their appearances in Noah, and so on and so on. We've been seeing that. However, Pro Wrestling Zero, it seems they're teaming up with Yuki Mashiro, who is, of course, as you know, originally with Ice Ribbon and now went on freelancing. And of course, reports were saying that she volunteered to lead the women's division in ZERO1. I was like so surprised. I'm like, very interesting. Now, many of you may question, why would she do that? Well, we do know recently, last year, Yuki Mashiro was outspoken about how the wrestlers in Ice Ribbon were not being paid. There was a lot of turmoil going on in Ice Ribbon, and it makes sense because, uh, as you know, Mashiro decided to go freelance because she had enough with Ice Ribbon. We know that several girls from Ice Ribbon also left, including, of course, trainer Miyu Shirai. The sister of Io Sky was there. But hearing that Mashiro decided to volunteer to lead the women's division, I say it's a good move. I think because I'm not sure where this is going to go. We have seen, of course, Unagi Sayaka was the only female that appeared in the tournament that they had, the Fire Festival. We have several women's wrestling that appeared in, but having a women's division in ZERO1, that's a different story. So I can't wait to see what else is going to happen. Now for our last development. Now, as you know, there is a division about of course, some people can't stand Konnan for what he says and his opinions and all that. He recently said that Kenny needs to make the jump to WWE. Now he thinks that Kenny is not he's not currently under contract with AEW, but we haven't heard anything yet. But some there is, I mean, we cannot say, because of course he took great pleasure of what he's saying about certain wrestlers that made their way now to WWE and all this other stuff. He's trying to bring them down and all that. But look, Konnan should just worry about what he needs to do, because right now the way I see it, his perspective, as you all know, he's part of AAA, and there's a lot of people that are not happy with their positions there, that sort of thing. But who knows? But do I think that Kenny will make the jump? Well, he has talked about it before, but I don't know what goals he has left that he wants to do. I know that he has just recently come back from injury, but we'll see. I mean, what do you guys think? Does Konnan make a right point? Does Kenny needs to leave AEW and join WWE? I mean, I cannot say that he will, but we'll see what Kenny does. It's his choice. We cannot make that for him. But so we'll leave things as it is as we speak, and we'll follow up more on that if there's anything to report. So I think that's pretty much what we have. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably can guess, we're going to have AEW Collision with Maximum Carnage. That will be our top priority. I haven't decided yet what other promotions I want to review, and I don't know what other, of course, news updates I would put out, because mostly since the start, I've been keeping the news updates into a minimum for some reason, not a lot to report. But we'll see how that rolls up. But for now, as I said, AEW Collision is our top priority. If there's anything else, I'll let you guys know. But for now, I'll say this, and I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.